the ISO live map.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't find the link. Let me look for it. I couldn't find it quickly and I forgot.
Interesting. Like a cool map.
Yeah, wait, hang on. Do you have this one?
No, just that's cool.
Okay. Like, are you saying that to be funny because you know? Okay.
No.
If I find it, I'll tell you.
All right, we are recording and we are live. I'm calling the meeting to order. It's 5:18. This is the September 25th meeting on the Climate Smart Kingston Commission. My name is Julie Noble. I am the Sustainability Coordinator for the City of Kingston, and I am the Parks and Recreation Representative and Climate Smart Kingston Commission Chair. With us, I'll just go through the commissioners. That abroad is excused. Emily Chesson is excused. Maya is here. Melissa is here remotely, but she's counting into quorum because she gave us her address. She's joining in from afar. Vicki Kennedy is here. Kevin McAvoy is here. Roberto Rivera is here remotely, and hopefully he's doing well. Dan Smith is excused. Jake Strauss is here. Karen Sullivan is here. Cal Truman is here. Jeannie Edwards is here online, and Anthony Fitzpatrick is excused. And with us, we have two guests, Bill Shuttle-Green and Aneshka Shabak. Do either of you want to have any public comment? Not at this point. Okay. So thank you, everyone. I will just mention that this is Vicki's last meeting. Vicki's term has expired, and Vicki's chosen to not renew the her position. So thank you for your service and for all that you've done for us here at Climate Smart. I hope that you continue to track on what we're doing. Always welcome to come back. Are there any modifications to the agenda? All right, we will go on to review and approval of the July meeting minutes. I did have a couple small edits for Kevin. The interns that were here last time were from the Department of the Environment of Ulster County, not from EDC. I mentioned, I just modified that under the carbon neutral project. Emily had mentioned a grant application being due in September, and that specifically was the NYSERDA Thermal Energy Network grant. And that was it. Are there any other modifications, changes, issues with the minutes? Not, we need a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I will motion.
Jake, you gonna get a second? Al, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Melissa and Roberto, if I don't hear from you, I'm gonna assume that you're in favor. Just give us an indication if you are not.
I haven't looked at them, so can I abstain?
You can abstain.
Okay, I'd like to abstain.
All right. Okay, so moving on to, and thank you, Kevin, for putting those together. Moving on to refrigerants. Don't have any update on refrigerants from my end. I have been more than swamped with grant projects and applications this summer, and I have not been able to move refrigerants forward. So we are just waiting until I have more time. Does anyone have anything else on refrigerants that you wanted to report? All right. Repair Cafe. Anything on Repair Cafe?
I will admittedly say that I've been not responding to Jake's emails. He did reach out twice to plan an event with me, and I've been just too at capacity. I should have said I'm too at capacity. I'm sorry for not answering you. Now that Climate Week is ending, I'll have a lot more time, so I will email you. I'm gonna pinky promise to maybe meet in person, even to plan a cafe before the end of the year. I would like to have one more Kingston cafe. So
Great. I figured that was the case, and no worries. Looking forward to talking about it.
okay, great.
Great. Okay. Outreach and education. Environmental education programming is the summer went great. We do summer camp swimmingly. And now is the registration season for the next set of programming. And we're actually switching over to a new recreation program. The department has always used ActiveNet. We are now using Rec Desk. I'm managing that transition, and we're going to hopefully launch it very soon. And that's when the programming will start to begin registration. But the first next upcoming one is Day in the Life of the Hudson River. So that's a regional program that's held all along the Hudson River by hundreds of groups and thousands of kids. And Phil and Casey will be hosting 40 students from Oakwood
Friends School.
Oakwood Friends School in Poughkeepsie. And so that's on October 10th, and then we'll hear back about that after the fact. Anything else on our environmental education still? Anyone else?
Yeah, so I think this is where we should talk about the Family Clean Energy Expo idea.
Okay.
So basically we were asked by Sustainable Hudson Valley to do a Climate Solutions Week Hudson Valley event. The Climate Smart Commission was very interested. We had a planning meeting. We came up with an idea. And then we realized, only 2 of us would be able to be there day of. So I don't know if everyone was able to follow up with all this in the email threads, but we decided due to capacity issues, we would not have the event during Climate Solutions Week Hudson Valley, and instead try to plan a fall energy expo, which Cal came up with that name. I think it's very great. Maybe planning it out more into the fall, we would have better capacity and we can expand it. The very first thing I need to know is if everyone still wants to do this. I did email the Good Work Institute and they were very interested and excited to host this kind of event in Kingston. We were going to do solar car presentations for kids ages 9 to 12 and then actually have them put together little solar cars. And then also have like solar bead bracelets for younger kids, coloring books. And then in the side rooms have like information for parents, maybe MHET there signing people up for community solar. We can build it as big as we want or, tailor it down as much as we want. But sorry, not MHET. Good Work did give me some dates in November that do work for them. So I don't know what you all think. We would need several people to help plan it. Anthony was interested in planning for Sustainable Hudson Valley when we were going to do that. I don't know if Cal's still interested moving forward, but it can't just be like 2 people, especially day of. We need, if you can't help plan it, but you can be there day of, that, that's also what we're looking for. So that's my spiel. Yeah.
Melissa, I'm inspired to join you, and my capacity is also open now.
Okay,
The
great.
date I can't do is November 16th.
Okay.
If you could pick something other than that.
So they said that November 2nd, they're hosting a Mothers Out Front kids clothing swap from 12 to 2, but the afternoon is free. So we could do an afternoon event, or Saturday, November 9th is open fully. Those were the options for the space.
Either works for Kaya. Just in case, can't tell my voice.
Or see her.
Or see.
Okay, so November 2nd, while this discussion is happening, can I just put out there, was it Chriso that suggested that there's also the Sustainable Hudson Valley thing that happens at the Fuller building?
Okay, yeah. So I was basically saying in the kind of side room, we may have like clean energy coaching. And I invited Chriso since we couldn't be a part of Sustainable Hudson Valley if, Sustainable Hudson Valley wanted to have a table or something. And he was saying that like they already do clean energy coaching live at their Clean Power Guide event, which is usually at the Senate House, I think.
Fuller building.
The Fuller building.
Yeah.
The Senate Garage. Is that what it is? I don't know. Okay. Whatever Julie said. is where,
Yeah, it's at the Fuller Building, I think. by the
Okay.
way.
yeah, that's usually an adult event. I've been
Yeah.
in a few years, and it's not a family energy expo. It's to launch the Clean Power Guide. So,
Great. I just
Yeah.
wanted to put that out there to know that, to just make a record that we're not going to combine with that.
I don't think we should, but it's up to the commission. Cal, I see your hand.
Just, when is the Clean Power Guide launched?
I don't think they announced it, have they?
Okay, so it's not like they already have that scheduled and are like, we don't want to overlap. They
No,
just-
I think they were more like, oh, you're gonna have live clean energy coaching. That's what we usually do around the fall. But
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
seen anyone bring kids to the chronogram events.
Yeah.
And I really think that you don't get anybody at those Clean Power Guide launch events who isn't already enmeshed in clean energy stuff. It's very rare to see somebody who's not already really knowledgeable. So I think this would be a different group of people, and I think it would be worth having coaching.
totally.
And I can help.
Okay. So we got Cal. And did you say you were available day of or planning or both, Haya?
I can do both.
Both. Okay, great. Any other takers or any other strong thoughts on if we should do this, if we should not do this?
Well,
Go ahead.
what age group of kids are you hoping for?
So we, NYCP was trained by a company in Canada called Relay Education, for this solar design challenge, they call it, to make these solar cars. And it's geared towards 9 to 12-year-olds, because of the concepts in the presentation. There's certain units of measurements explained, and there's concepts of renewable energy broken down very simply for kids. But we were saying, even if younger kids came, because sometimes families have more than one kid and, some are younger, we could have the solar bead bracelets, coloring books, other kind of activities. So I would say young through 12 or preteen. I don't know if we want to do something geared towards older kids or high schoolers, but
And does anyone know, because we either have the afternoon of the 2nd or any time on the 9th. So
yeah.
families are likely to do a morning event, we should do the 9th, but if that doesn't matter, then.
Yeah, the other event we were going to do was going to be early in the morning. Yeah.
I can help with the planning, depending on when it is, we'll determine whether I can help the day of, but I can help with the planning.
Okay.
Does one of those days work better for you?
For either day, earlier morning would be better.
So the 9th.
Okay, let's do the
Yeah.
9th.
Okay. I'll tell them we're in. Great. And then should I make a doodle poll for Julian, Cal, and Haya, and then see also if Anthony wants to be involved? Okay, I'll do that.
And also, just ask Betta and Emily and Dan, because they're not here.
Okay.
Or you can send it to everybody.
Okay, I'll email the whole coalition.
Great. Super. Thank you for taking the lead on that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so I also wanted to just give a final closeout report on the Earth Fair. Melissa, just quick, do you know if RICOR check ever got received by Catskill Mountain Keeper?
I asked them and they haven't gotten back to me, so thanks for the reminder to nudge them.
Okay. I'm going to assume that it has. I would love just confirmation though from you, yes or no, but for the purposes of closing out the books and reconciliation of the books, assuming we did get the final check from them, we ended up bringing in, including the $10,000 from Radio Kingston, total gross revenue was $17,643.81. Of that, Catskill Mountain Keeper, who is our fiscal sponsor, keeps 7%. So they kept $444.50. And we spent $16,163.80. So our net income was $1,035.51, which is in the black. So, well done, well done, people.
Yeah.
Wait, if they kept $400, how would, okay, never mind, I got it.
So as a whole, great job. I mean, not as a whole, like definitely great job, regardless of how I say it. It was in black, it was positive, we had a great time, and the bills are all closed out. And so once I have confirmation from you on that, I'm just gonna send a note to you that basically tells you all those things. And you can shoot a note to Casca Mountain Keeper to be like, this is how much money I think you have in your account. I think they're usually like, okay. And hopefully we'll do it again next year. Okay, thank you for making that happen. And that's our wrap up on outreach and education. So let's see, clean electricity, carbon neutral project and building decarbonization. I am applying for I started Flex Tech grant. I think that we talked about that the last time. There was a question whether I was going to apply for the Thermal Energy Network grant through NYSERDA that's due in September. I will not be applying for that because I don't have the completed Flex Tech study. But we have to wait on the Flex Tech study to see about moving forward the rest of the carbon neutral project. And that is also going to get wrapped into the second point here, which is Thermal Energy Network and CCG. CCG stands for Community Change Grant. So, it's an energy transition, and the city will be applying, the city is the lead, for budget to be determined, but up to $2 million for an EPA Community Change Grant. And the grant is it's due on November 21st. And we were able to get technical assistance to help write it. And we're going to be writing a grant to do two things. One is to set up a thermal energy network using this building that we're in, City Hall, and the fire stations, and possibly the water department and DPW. Those buildings will be connected via with the geothermal energy, and we will be exchanging heat and cooling with the buildings. And the second part is that this row of houses right here, which is on Jansen, Hasbrook. There's 14 homes there, or 14 parcels. If they choose to be part of it, they will be part of the thermal energy network as well. They're going to receive home energy audits, free upgrades for all their systems, removal of all fossil fuel systems, and connection to the thermal energy network. If we get the grant, and if we pull together the application in time. So that's the goal. It is, as I like to say, it's a long shot, but my long shots have been pretty good so far. So it's a long shot. It's extremely competitive. It's on a federal level. And it's been a rolling grant, and they've already been awarding some, so we're not even sure if they're not going to run out of money before December 21st or November 21st, but we're pushing for it. So if that's the case, then this building will be decarbonized with the money I already have. Also, we just got word that we're working with, we were awarded another grant, $1.5 million in collaboration with Siemens and the National Renewable Energy Laboratories and Train to decarbonize the fire station, which will be using a new technology that Siemens, NREL, and Train are developing together that I'm not really familiar with or really know how to articulate, and I'll circulate the email. But it's new decarbonization technologies that are going to be modeled on a fire station and then ideally replicable on other fire stations around the world. Because I guess fire stations have something different going on than most of the places don't. I mean, they're 24 hours a day. They have different demands on mechanical and other things. So that was a Department of Energy benefit grant that we got. So with that grant, that building will be decarbonized, this building will be decarbonized. We're gonna make them into thermal energy network connection using the new funding that we're gonna apply for, and we're gonna tie in these buildings over here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So $2 million is enough to establish a thermal energy network? Or
20,
It was $20 million. Well, how did I mishear that?
20.
Where's the 20 coming
The
from?
20 is the application to the EPA Community Change Grant. That's the grant I'm working on with Midwest Energy Transition. That's the CCG on this project. So the CCG, the Community Change Grant we're applying for 20 million. We already have the Siemens DOE, Department of Energy Benefit Grant, for 1.5. And then we already have the next certain carbon neutral grant for these buildings. So the building decarbonization has already been funded. Now we're going to tie them all together with thermal energy. And it will be arguably the first, if not in the first 5 in New York State.
Great.
And a lot of work and a lot of unfamiliarity of things, but we're all figuring it out as we go.
What is departments first, that they're all connected through a network?
Yes,
And you said 17 houses on Jansen?
14 parcels.
14 parcels.
Of that, it includes, and these are folks, this is all still to be ironed out, so I understand that this is a public meeting and people could be listening and watching to this. This is all an application. There's still a lot of feasibility that needs to be done. We're evaluating right now, everything from Top Taste down to the corner across from the bike shop, Revolution.
Kevin, that's Hasbro.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Hasbrook from
That's what I
Top
thought I heard
Taste.
Jansen
Yeah,
now,
You
so-
did initially, but
Okay, yeah, and
Right.
then I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that stretch, there's also a parcel that has a Rupco complex of folks that rent, that are primarily offered to folks who would otherwise be homeless. So that's one of the, groups of demographics that live in this stretch, but also the average age of these homes is all over 100 years old. So the upgrades themselves will be incredible for the residents.
You got a question?
Question, go ahead.
Julie, are those 3 different grants, or is that one huge 20 million? Does that carry all of it, or is that just for the fire? I got a little mixed up there.
It's confusing. So the first grant that we already have for 1.8 million that I already have and I'm already working on is the NYSERDA Carbon Neutral Grant. That is for City Hall and the Andy Murphy Center, carbon neutral, removing all fossil fuels. I'm already in the process of doing that. That's secured money, already happening, 1.8 million. The second grant I mentioned, which is already also secured, is the funding through the Department of Energy benefit grant with Siemens for $1.5 million for the fire stations. That's money that's going not through the city, it's going through Siemens, but we're benefiting from it. That is secure. We just got announced. We haven't moved on it yet, but it's secure. So those things are absolutely happening. What is an application for a grant is the $20 million to combine all the buildings and then work with the residents. That's the Thermal Energy Network grant, which is called the EPA Community Change Grant.
Okay, thank you. And can I is it possible that I could get a copy of these meetings so I could have emailed to me?
Yes, yep,
Thank you so much.
no problem.
Doing wonderful things.
Thank you. So yeah, that's happening. I will keep you all posted. I'll know better at the October meeting whether we're moving forward with this new $20 million application.
Oh, we got Melissa.
Melissa.
I just wanted to flag that I forwarded you today an email about Thermal Energy Network Charette. I never know how to say that word. Charette, supported by NYSERDA. It's specifically for municipalities, so
Yep.
municipal officials and such. So
Yes, thank you. I've been attending those charrettes. They have them monthly. This is the last one, and this is definitely going to be the most relevant. So I circulated it to my team as well. So thank you.
okay, great.
Okay, so the next thing is municipal solar installations. There actually hasn't been any installation movement since the last meeting. My rep at Solar Generation, which is the current firm that I'm using to do this installations at the Andretta Pool and the Rhino Center. My rep changed, so there was a small stall. And I thought there was gonna be a July or August install, that obviously has not happened. So we're waiting on that. And I have to still do some lot line deletions for First Avenue. But I did get the grant that I applied for to Ulster County for the Ulster County Solar and Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Grant. And I got funding to put a solar installation on the roof of the Hasbrook Park Stone Building, the Hasbrook Park Pavilion. So I'm gonna use Clean Energy Communities Grant money and SEVI money from the county, and that building at Hasbrook Park is gonna get solar. Yeah. It's happening. It's happening. So that was another successful grant from this year.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
The city uses federal funds to install EV charging stations.
Yep.
Is electricity then free for people, or the city can still charge for its electricity?
We can do it's our discretion what we wanna do. Let me restate that. For the grants that we've gotten for EV charging stations so far, all of the grants have been state grants through the ZEV program through the Department of Environmental Conservation. Those ZEV grants, which have funded the Prince Street installation, North Front Street, Forsyth Park, Gallo Park, Visitor Center, Block Park, Cornell Street, those all have stipulations that they need to be free for the first 2 years. They're all over 2 years old.
Right.
So after the 2 years, we can choose what we want to do. And we could charge $700, we could charge 7 cents. We could charge whatever we want, we could change it every minute, we could change it if the car's blue, we can charge more for a blue car. That's not popular. So we have, in the beginning, the county had Chamber of Commerce funding to subsidize their EV charging. So they didn't assess fees for charging in the beginning either, because the Chamber of Commerce was paying for it. And then the Chamber of Commerce and other people were like, this is fair, we're not paying for people's gas, let's not pay for people's electric. So the county started assessing a specific fee. We then started assessing the same fee that they were, which is right now, the first 2 hours are free, then it's 50 cents an hour after that, which by the way is ridiculously cheap. Like almost a joke.
That's really cheap.
Almost a joke. We've stuck with that structure. The county then switched to a different structure, which is 36 cents per kilowatt hour during the day, 18 cents at night, and 18 cents on the weekend. We have before the city administration a proposal to modify our current fee assessment at the EV charging stations, but it hasn't been determined yet. I would surmise that we'll probably go with what the county goes with. What we also haven't done up until now is we haven't been assessing a fee if your car is full and you're still parked there. Meaning you're still there, you're still plugged in, and another dude pulls up and can't plug in because you're parked there. We haven't been assessing fees for people who keep plugging in even after they're full, but we can. And there is a proposal to the mayor, before the mayor, to start doing that. The county does do that. So we'll see. The bottom line is we are not making anywhere near the amount that we are paying. We're nowhere near making our money back. But it was never, the premise of why we started doing it was never to make money. It was to transition the culture up for people to be able to try these. Okay, and we'll get to EVs and with a couple more things in just a moment also. That's all I have on solar. Municipal installations. Battery storage, I know Emily was gonna give us a primer, but she's not here, so I don't actually have anything on battery storage unless someone else does. CCA and community solar. We have not heard back from the Public Service Commission yet, so we're still waiting on our CCA approvals. Community solar is still available for folks and we're pushing it. We've just been updating our Engage Kingston website, which has all the different options that people can engage with community solar on. And Phil has been working on gathering just pulling together some information about our municipal accounts related to community solar. I don't know if there's anything you have to report on that at this point yet.
It looks like there's only 2 accounts that are linked, so they're the anchor accounts for community solar. That's what the information I got from Brad.
2 accounts total?
Yeah, but they're the big ones.
Oh, wastewater treatment plant.
Wastewater treatment plant, and actually I don't remember what the other one is right now, but wastewater treatment plant is the really high electricity use account for the city, so.
And so that's one of the things I have Phil working on is just kind of getting in order where all of our accounts are, like which are associated with the Point of Praise Church solar, because we offtake some solar from that, we offtake some solar from the WKNY array that's kind of down in the wetland area behind by the SOPIS. And then which are part of community solar to kind of get that all in order. So if you have people who are not signed up for community solar, still can. Solar siting report, the municipal renewable energy implementation plan. We got a little bit of an extension on that from the county, so it seems like they wanted to get everything in by September, but that did not happen, so it seems like we're just pushing for the fall. Actually, Melissa, I don't know if you have any more information on that. Was there a training or a presentation on that last night?
Yeah, I was not able to attend it. Yeah, I heard it was more geared towards climate smart CACs to try to get more people to do reports by showing the results so far. But I know that Manna's been a little sick also, so I think she's a little behind on the kind of culmination of things. Someone, I don't remember who, said that like the report is a little disjointed and like clearly it's like this chunk was from this place and this chunk was from this place. And so I think there was going to be an effort to try to like go through that and clean up the report. I kind of have taken my hands off of that whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. I definitely made that comment. I mean, it's done, but it feels like it's done by 3 or 4 different people.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That can happen in the report, but it needs to be all done under one voice. So
yeah. I mean, I did have somebody from, I forget which municipality, but someone who took the solar mapping training in fall of 2021 called me like recently and say like, oh, I'm putting together the report for my municipality. I need to access the tool. Can you help refresh my memory? So towns are getting involved and using it to assess why solar siting.
That's great.
As far as I know.
That's good. So yeah, I will update folks when I have more information, but right now we're still.
Are the reports available anywhere? I had a hard time trying to locate them at the county.
I don't know. Do you know, Melissa, if the county one is available publicly?
I guess it's because it's really just a draft right now.
Okay.
Their goal was like in circulating it amongst groups, kind of getting feedback, and then they were gonna present it in September, and I think that's being pushed. And then once it's presented to the county, they will likely publish it on more of a public level.
That answers the question.
Okay. Clean hydrogen, Roberto, do you want to speak on clean hydrogen? Are you with us here? Or Kevin?
All right, I spoke to Roberto, was it yesterday? Or the day before, I don't remember. Days are running together. But in any event, we drafted, and the language is still a little sloppy, I think we have to review it a little further, but we have draft letters for letters of interest that we're interested in the green hydrogen project that Proton Energy is working on with Toyota. So we have letters for each of those too. Hyundai, we put on hold because Hyundai, I just saw a press release, I think, this was Monday, for sure, that they're working with some people in the Czech Republic. So I don't know if if Hyundai is doing this with Proton or not. You couldn't tell from Proton's website or Hyundai's website. There were no press releases about the two of them working together. But the Czech Republic there is, but I don't think that's for us. So, and then Roberto forwarded me a link to a municipal fleet outside of Tacoma, Washington. On that, somewhere.
Well, Kevin's looking for that. Roberto, I see that you came off mute. Are you?
Oh, okay. If you want.
Can you hear me, guys?
We can. How are you?
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, Kevin's doing great. I mean, he's there's a lot of happening with hydrogen. A lot.
Amazing. Maybe you've seen this.
We just got some letters. We want to get some letters out to Toyota and to Proton Energy, which we were in touch with them before we were going to go visit them, and that sort of didn't work out. We want to try and renew that to get to see their facility in Connecticut. The important thing is we want to see the electrolyzer where they actually produce their hydrogen from water. And hopefully, if we ever go forward with something like this, that we could produce our own hydrogen here in Kingston, having our own electrolyzer and our own refueling station for possibly a proof of concept for 1 or 2 cars from our municipal fleet to run on hydrogen. I think that's the general idea. Kevin, am I good on that?
So that would be what the letter of interest should indicate. Yeah, that's where we're going.
How pricey do you think these are? Of course, everything is pricing when they first come out, but are we talking $100 grand or are we talking?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to go up, look on the West Coast and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look this up.
The cost of a hydrogen
Just like what's
car.
about to buy.
The electrolyzer or the vehicle?
Vehicle.
Just look at the MSRP for Mariah.
That's something.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
The Mariah is the one, the starting MSRP 50,000,
How much cheap?
50K, the 2024 Mariah.
Can I order one?
Probably. Where are you gonna fill it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say, and because one of the things that people get stuck on is the refueling is a lot, Toyota and other companies that aren't really making these, but they give you a certain amount of free refueling. Like they roll it into the cost of the vehicle. To help you figure it out and not feel like cranky like that. There's some early adopter friction. There's definitely like, I don't know if you all saw the link I sent out, but they were talking about like the car is great, refueling is very challenging.
Yeah.
They're cool though.
Yes.
And that's part of the problem is there aren't a lot of places to do it. The technology keeps changing. If suddenly more people buy the cars, then the fueling station can't keep up and it closes and then everyone goes to the next station and the next station closes for certain people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the problem with scale.
Yeah.
Chicken and the egg.
Yeah. Gotta have more capacity if you have people
Right.
taking it, which is hard.
Okay. Anything else, Roberto?
Just that the Washington State. I think Kevin and Julie, you have the what I sent you. I'm wondering if you guys could share it with everyone else so that everyone else in the on the commission could see it. It's just that Washington State, the county, one of their county, I think it's Lewis County. They're actually doing hydrogen. They're going to produce their own hydrogen, and they're going to run their bus system is going to be run solely on hydrogen. So they'll be producing it, and they'll be they'll be owning it. In other words, they're not going to be buying gas. They're not going to be. They're going to actually be producing their own fuel for their buses, for their fleet, and that at some point in the long run should have some kind of cost savings besides, doing something good for the environment.
Wow, we'll have to follow that, and we'll share what we got.
Did Roberto do his,
No.
okay, good.
Roberto, we're still hoping you to do your demonstration the next time.
Next time, that's a definite, Julie. Look, can you see my raised hand?
No, you see.
That's a definite.
Okay. How you feeling? You feeling all right?
I am on the mend, Julie. I'm on the mend. I'm just excited to be here with you guys.
Excited you're here too. All right, thank you. All right, so moving on to education and workforce opportunities, green jobs. Does anyone have Cal?
Yeah, real quick, Empower Kingston is running their second Green Jobs training of the year. They're doing 2, and their second just started about a week ago. And they've got a full cohort. I'm trying to remember how many people they had. It was probably about 18 people, so a full cohort. And they have 2 folks among their trainees who are predominantly Spanish speaking, so that's cool. And those folks should be, I think it's a 6-week program. So at the end of those 6 weeks, they'll be hopefully employed locally doing green jobs.
Awesome. All right, thank you. Any other green jobs things? Okay, moving on to sustainable mobility and land use, city fleet transition.
I'm still working on it. I think the electric vehicles are trickling in. So building safety got 2 Mustangs delivered today. And the police department got 2 laser pursuit vehicles delivered a week or 2 ago. And they're expecting an additional 2, and then I'm not sure if they put in the purchase order yet, but they're planning to buy 8 electric vehicles for their detectives. So it seems like a fair bit of movement in like the sort of like the sedan SUV range of vehicles in terms of transitioning to electric vehicles. But for the real heavy polluters, like the diesel engine vehicles, I don't think there's really any movement right now. I looked a bit into the renewable diesel, this alternate diesel that comes, it's basically you run biodiesel through a refinery. We might have brought this up in a previous meeting, but that seems to be at present the easiest and maybe most effective route towards reducing emissions from diesel engines. So you can just swap it in for regular diesel. Problem is that it's, but this is actually sort of a West Coast versus East Coast thing too. California, it's actually quite easy to get because they have tons of refineries. So they can just swap in biodiesel into the refineries to get their own biodiesel. Around here, we don't really have the fossil fuel infrastructure, which sort of ironically means that we also don't have access to these cleaner replacement fuels. But New York City has transitioned over their fleet to renewable diesel through a city-specific contract with a provider from down south. So
Can't we trade water for biodiesel?
I don't know what our bargaining power is really. It would be.
Bi-directional aqueduct.
Yeah.
You said that.
Yeah, we'll see. I think because the city just switched over to it, I think last year. So they've switched their fleet, but they're planning to switch you know how the New York City has all of these ferries that go everywhere these days? They're planning to switch all those over as well. And like the reduction, I don't remember the numbers right now. It's not like 100% reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, but it's like 70% or something like that. So pretty substantial. My hope is that because the city is such a large client, that will bring in renewable diesel that maybe we can get in the coming years. So it's already, there's a few companies that are selling it commercially, but they're not supplying to municipal fleets in New York. So we'll see.
Great, I have a question on that. My first thought was, doesn't New Jersey have a lot of fuel refineries, but maybe that doesn't help. Do you think it's one of those things where, like, with some of the other technologies, having other municipalities or going to the county level and having Ulster County and, like, I feel like Westchester County, like, there would be enough demand that, like, maybe having multiple accounts all decide to do that shift at once would make it worth the while of suppliers?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that with Ulster County
Okay.
to have it be together.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, so a lot of this, I was focusing on this a few months ago, I feel like. So it's sort of, I'm having to like pull back memories from a while back. But if I remember correctly, one of the concerns is that there's sort of entrenched culture in terms of who has what and where, like, so what I'm trying to say is getting municipalities and different levels of government to share things might prove to be a little difficult, but I think it makes sense to me that we would have more power if we were all going in together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah, I also wonder if this is like an opportunity for some entrepreneur to start their, biodiesel spot in the region, and then everybody who wants to do that transition can go there to refuel. And
it's a good point. New Jersey does have
they
refineries,
have tons
so
of
it's like,
refineries, right?
yeah,
Surely Jersey could be making this.
yeah. Maybe their refineries are probably just full with fracked oil. So they
Pennsylvania.
don't have any they don't have any space. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so it's sort of like when I first came across it, I was like, oh, this is sort of another greenwashing thing. And it's obviously not a complete solution to the problem, but for these really big trucks and stuff like that, even to switch them to like an electric vehicle, the amount of battery that you need starts becoming an issue in and of itself. So, and the fact that you can just swap it in, it's very appealing.
Right.
Like,
So-
it doesn't require any retrofitting or
No,
anything.
no.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is actually, I'm glad that we're having this conversation because I sort of just put this on the back burner, but now I'm like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna start reaching out to the companies that do exist to see what they're sort of, if they're planning in the coming years to offer it to municipalities.
Yeah, you ought to check out New Jersey too. In series, I just did a Google search for it, and we have too much here to review right now.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
That it's present in New Jersey?
Jersey DEP, clean energy, bioenergy, and that goes on, and then biodiesel laws and incentives in New Jersey Clean Cities Coalition, biodiesel.
So the big difference is that it's not biodiesel.
It's like extra refined.
So
Okay.
yeah, because the biodiesel can't be swapped.
So biodiesel is like take french fries, make them into french fry oil, make it into stuff that works in your car.
Yeah, like clean French fry oil and then
Right.
burn it in your car.
Right.
And then
This
renewable
is-
diesel is like clean French fry oil and then run it through a refinery as if it was crude oil. And what comes out is diesel.
Yeah, it looks like they're considering that for residential heating.
Oh, interesting.
I see a PDF for
I know it's good.
that. So, yeah, it might be worth just to take a look, see it.
Yeah.
See what they're up to. Yeah.
It's also the case that depending on how many vehicles you're talking about, like it is feasible to retrofit most diesel engines to be able to take biodiesel. So if you're like, I can't find this more processed product, but I can find biodiesel, I don't know the availability of biodiesel, but if that is more available, it might be worth looking at what the conversion would take per vehicle. Because that is a thing you can do, and I have a friend who did that as his college job,
Yeah,
converting diesel engines.
yeah.
I don't know what it takes.
Seems to me that
Yeah, into biodiesel engines so that they can burn that sort of refined vegetable.
yeah.
Did you have something, Roberto? Did you-
No, Julie.
I have one.
Oh, yeah, hi.
It's a question about the EVs that the city owns. How does the city service those vehicles? Does it have its own mechanic or,
We do not.
so how do you, what do
We
you,
have to bring them to a dealership.
how far away is the nearest dealership that can work on EVs?
We have them around here,
Oh, yeah?
but
Yeah, that's.
for instance, we had one of our Parks sedan was sitting at the dealership for a solid year.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Is it 'cause
waiting
they
to
didn't
park.
Oh, we didn't have.
Yep, and that's part of the concern also is that the county did offer a, EV, sort of like mechanics, very, very 101 kind of class, but it wasn't anything certifiable or anything. So we definitely don't have people on staff that are qualified or even comfortable working on EVs.
What about, excuse my, pardon my ignorance, but is it boaches? Both Cs, and they're technical school, right? Has there been talk about including?
I'll have to talk to them about
Yeah,
it, and
okay.
they aren't doing it.
They are,
Not at all, no,
Really?
not a lot of interest.
they're not interested. Are you talking about like EV mechanics
Yeah.
training?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they also only recently started training for heat pumps, and there's so much demand for heat pump technicians. Most of those kids are learning to install and maintain gas and oil boilers,
Wow.
which is technology that will not be able to be used in New York State by the time they're in the workforce, so.
Wow.
So that is just an issue, but, BOCES is open to having conversations with people in the community, they have a board of advisors, so it is worth reaching out to them, for anybody who's interested in nudging that. But at present, they don't train for EV technicians. It doesn't sound like they're planning without,
Well, what is the problem with like taking them to a Honda, which now has, the Prologue EV vehicles, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Honda has service.
Oh, yeah, the places have the service, but it's a matter of when you have a fleet of hundreds of vehicles,
Yeah.
there's just savings, the economics of having somebody in-house to do it.
Yeah.
Because, it just literally takes time to bring things.
Yeah.
Keep track of the inventory and.
would you say you're looking for training for mechanics employed by the city? Or is that too far ahead?
I think that my opinion is different than it may be over at DPW.
If that
Yeah,
ends up being the case, will you tell me?
yeah,
Because I might be able to find a trainer.
great. That's a good idea, but we should really be pushing actually. Because now we're basically doubling our fleet size just, right?
Yeah, with electric vehicles,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, EV infrastructure, I talked a bit about that already with just the changing of the fees. We haven't had any new infrastructure changed, although Phil is working on something at the KPD. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm managing projects at the police station at the building safety building as well. So they're the two buildings that are on Garrigan Drive, going down to 9W from the rundown. And in both cases, we're talking with Central Hudson to get additional new transformers installed there. It'll be distinct from the transformers that are providing electricity to the buildings, because in both cases, the buildings are actually pretty much at the capacity of the transformers, which poses a problem with installing electric chargers, because then you're gonna have essentially like rolling blackouts as a result, or you're gonna be messing with the building's electricity. So that's like a pretty intense project, because Central Hudson has to do all of their work, and then after they install the transformers, we're also going to be installing new conduit and electrical wiring and stuff like that to establish more sort of concrete permanent charging banks for both of these buildings. For the police station, it's going to be all private, it's just going to be for the police. And then for the building safety, the chargers will be publicly accessible as they are today. So it's fun. There's a lot of questions about like what direction to go when doing a big project like this. And right now reaching out to electrical engineers for quotes and hopefully for some insight with regards to the voltage of these transformers. So that's gonna affect whether you can put in the DC fast chargers in the future or you're limited to the slower chargers. And it's just very hard because right now we want one thing, but it's like, what will we want 10 or 20 years from now? Like,
Yeah.
we probably don't want to have to do this whole thing with Central Hudson again. And I think also Central Hudson is probably in a position right now where they're comfortable making these changes because there's a lot of pressure to build the infrastructure for the electric vehicles. But in the future, I don't know, they might be a little bit less interested in coming and helping us upgrade our transformers. So there's a lot of like, for me, there's a lot of like questioning and thinking about like what the best route is. And I've just been talking to everyone who's involved, so.
It's also a very large cultural shift.
Yeah, oh yeah, everyone, it's in every instance, people under their breath are like, wow, you're just charging these with fossil fuel, and anyway, that's where the electricity's coming from, or like all these little asides, which it's been sort of fun because it reminds me that even though I'm not like an electric vehicle enthusiast or anything like that, I still exist in a bubble in terms of what I understand these things to be. And I learn things from these folks because they're like referencing a YouTube video they watch or something like that, like I never, like, it's like completely unknown to me. So just realizing that there's multiple perspectives on what electric vehicles are and what service they provide us, it's interesting. I mean, I think everyone seems to recognize that they're here to stay, but there's definitely some reticence about a full-blown transition.
If it's helpful when you're having those conversations, maybe it's better to not say anything. If you do want to say something for a passenger vehicle in New York State with the grid that we have, it takes about 3 years to break even for the amount of energy it takes to like mine the battery. And then after that 3 years, you're better off driving an electric vehicle than a combustion vehicle.
Right.
For a vehicle that gets as much use as something in a city fleet, if it's driving a lot, then it's gonna happen faster. So particularly like the police department, those vehicles are gonna pay for themselves faster.
Yeah.
And most of our grid is natural gas, which is a cleaner burn than gasoline and
Yeah.
combustion engines. If that's helpful.
I mean, it's the kind of thing where it's like, it's not really, like, people aren't saying these things to open a conversation.
I wasn't
It's,
sure.
you know, it's like, it's more like just people, like, we have like our opinions about things, and like, we're all at work, so that our opinions aren't like the front and center, but it's like everyone has these thoughts, so it's sort of, it's an interesting dynamic with the process, with the transition.
Right, so how many cars does the police station have? Or the city police, how many EVs?
So right now they have two, or maybe they had one from before.
They have a SRO vehicle.
Yeah, so they have one from before.
Alright, so not even near all of the cars.
They are expecting 10.
Oh, okay.
So well, sorry. They have 3 right now. There are 2 that they've already paid for that they're waiting on, and then there are an additional 8 that they're planning to purchase. Like they have the money allocated and everything like
I
that.
remember at a previous meeting that when you were talking about converting the police cars to EV, the
Yeah.
problem of when do you charge them? Because the
Yeah.
cars work 24 hours a day. Control.
Right.
So did you guys solve that problem?
Well, this one was just a matter of perspective. We're not switching every single police car to electric, so it's like, well, it doesn't actually, it's sort of a moot point.
Right.
Like they're not driving every police car 24 hours a day. Like they're driving a subset of police cars. And currently the way they work it is one person's shift ends and then the next person starts and they get into the car that was being driven in the previous shift.
Right.
But that doesn't have to be the case, because they're normally driving half the vehicles that they have.
Okay.
So with that in mind, even if every single one was electric, they're only in very special circumstances would they all be out at the same time. So,
And
but
it would be a disaster.
yeah, exactly. And actually those contingency questions have come up and we don't really have like solid answers for them right now.
Solar powered.
Yeah, like what happens when the power goes out for a few days?
Yeah.
Like what do we So I think we're in a good position now because we're just talking 4, and I think it's 12 or 14 police cars are like available. So 4 out of that is not very much. So I think it's more like we're chipping away at the emissions as opposed to just clearing them out altogether. But I think it's also, it's prudent to do that because we don't have the generator that can come in to charge those cars if the power goes out. So.
Melissa?
I
No,
don't know.
Oops, go ahead. No, go.
I don't know if this will be helpful, but our clean energy coach, Steve Were, has created business cases for 2 municipalities so far to replace their ICE police patrol cars with EVs. He has like a spreadsheet that calculates the savings and presents it pretty clearly. He's interested in like helping other municipalities have this. I don't know if Kingston's already done this, but just throwing it out there.
So we have not.
Yeah.
Okay, he said that like usually the PDs usually keep good records of maintenance and fuel costs per vehicle, and so he plugs that in if the municipality is willing to give him that information into this Excel. So if you want me to connect you with him.
That would be great.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Thank you.
Mhm.
Roberta, you had something?
No, I think that's a great idea. I mean, we need the data. My only concern was that, that you might have to buy more cars because you do need some cars in reserve. I mean, I think you can always, like it was said here that, all of the cars are not going to go out at the same time. And and that, there'll always be cars in reserve, and that's what's needed. I mean, you're going to have automobiles charging while others are out, doing whatever they need to do. So it's going to be interesting.
I think the way we're doing it is a pretty good one because we're providing the police the opportunity to practice with a few of the electric cars and get a feel for it. And I think what I found in this process in trying to understand how EVs work is that there's a lot, what you see online is only like the specs and those kinds of things, but the actual like user experience, for example, what's the battery life when you're driving the police vehicle in the wintertime with all the equipment on? There's no, even talking to Chevy, they wouldn't give me a solid answer for that. So it's like these things, sorry, that's the company that's making these cars. So a lot of this is like, I think it's gonna be through personal experience that we actually understand the way to do it.
I'd just like to add to that, like you have a police car that's out there and all of a sudden they got to go on a chase. And that's going to run down the battery like almost immediately, because, I mean, you're right. There are going to be so many variables and it'll be based on experience, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Totally.
Great, thanks for that update. All right, bike share. I don't have any updates on the bike share unless you know.
No, every time I see one of these things, I'm like, oh, I should ask Emily to find out what happened with that. But
Can you ask her?
I could ask her. Yeah. Sorry, I will ask her.
Was it just a concept of asking? Sorry.
All right, community preservation plan is on the ballot. I don't know if they've assigned a ballot initiative member.
Yeah, they did.
You know what it is?
I think I saw that
Yeah.
in the minutes.
There's 1, 2, 3, or 4. I know they only did it by the 20th, so it had to have been recently.
It was.
There are 4 ballot initiatives on this year's, at this year's election. 2 are state, 1 is county, and 1 is the city one. And one of them is community preservation plan.
I saw someplace, be sure to turn your ballot over and vote.
Right. I have the full set. They sent me the full set. That doesn't help. Proposal
Oh,
later, here are the referendums, okay. No,
Oh, it was from,
Oh, number 4.
number 4,
Dillinger, that was it.
Number 4.
yeah, local law 10, the council. Now, there was a wording situation, which we're gonna have to do as part of the outreach, which is already in progress. The tax is 1.25%, but they did not put in the referendum that that's over the median. So it reads like it's 1.25%.
That's bad.
But
Wow.
apparently that's been done somewhere else, that's what I
It's
was
been done in
told.
every other community that's done it.
No, I'm saying if they don't include language.
Oh,
about
no, they
median.
reference the local law, which goes
Oh,
back.
wait, but that doesn't say it
It
in,
doesn't say it when you.
that's terrible.
Yeah, well, that's what we all said
Oh,
when we looked
man.
at it, but they, that's how they do it.
Hmm.
So this becomes a community outreach project to explain it. Well, no, back it up.
Yeah.
You get an exemption.
Someone should write a letter to the newspaper, like, immediately about that.
I think that was done or was in the works. I'm not sure if they hit the submit button on that one yet, but they were sending something to the Daily Freeman.
Radio Kingston too, right?
And
Feel like
Kingston as
the
well.
mayor's newsletter or something? Just like just a thing to get.
Yeah.
It's touchy on the city level because we
Yeah.
can't,
Right, you can't weigh in.
I
Oh,
can't
right.
advocate, we can let people know that there is a proposition, I can't tell or advocate for people to vote for it or against.
But clarifying language is technically, is that kind of advocacy?
It's informational for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, the Kingston Land Trust is working on a campaign for that, right?
Yeah, we set up a separate entity for that because it's a tax exempt organization.
Yeah.
Shouldn't really be delving too much into electoral matters.
Did you need a C4 for that?
There was a guy, yeah, I think he did set that up that way. It's a separate thing, it's somebody that had worked on community preservation before previously.
Right, I don't really have an update on the open space plan, I do have an intern that's working on mapping out the open space. Some acquisitions that we've taken from surplus properties, but I don't actually really have a report on that, I'll have hopefully more next month.
Question,
Yes.
can you explain what it is?
The open space plan? So the open space plan is a plan that we put together that preceded the community preservation plan. We did a natural resources inventory first to map out all of the assets that we have, natural resource assets in the city, so streams, forest corridors, tree cover, soils, geological bedrock layers, vernal pools, wetlands, parks, all the different layers. Then we took all of that and we overlaid it to create heat maps, which is basically like this parcel has both forest and a wetland, and it's close to a park, and it's in this forest corridor, and it's got a lot of tree cover, whatever. So that makes it more of a priority. And in the open space plan, we looked at that big picture and we made general goals and recommendations for land preservation, not to the parcel level. So we didn't say 101 Wilson Avenue has this value because of this. We said the north, the southeast region of the city of Kingston has large forest cover and it's, got all these other things. So we should really be we should be focusing on that space to preserve that land. Or there are not enough parks in this section of the city based on the fact that there's parks over here, but this is like a park desert, so this is an area where we should focus on putting a park. Or we have X amount of waterfront, but only this amount of public access, so we should add this amount more public access. So we made all different recommendations, including that's where the plant 1,000 trees by 2030 recommendation came from. So part of that open space plan work, that then moved on to be the next phase, which is the community preservation plan, which got to the parcel level, which is what we were just talking about, the community preservation fund. But the open space plan itself, we're still implementing the plans from that. So looking at large parcels of land that might be up for sale, should we be preserving those? Putting in more trails, planting more trees. So now we have an urban forester who has gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars to put in trees. So implementing those actions. I have not been tracking the implementation of that. And so I have an intern who's like, okay, figure out how many trees we planted, figure out how many acres we've preserved, how many trails we've put in, and kind of putting that all together into like a public facing.
Fast fact sheet.
Yeah. And so that is what I will have to do that. Thank you. All right, Kingston Organics is going great. We're up to 39.63 tons diverted, 1,034 people, 504 families. 39.63 tons. I will say that we seem to be losing locks left and right. So we lost the
Cutting
one.
them off?
Huh?
Are people cutting them off?
I don't know. The one at Forsyth broke this week. The one at the on Hoffman Street was lost this week, which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying that these locks are gonna last forever, but
That's just weird.
I know it's weird.
Or maybe you found the lifespan of the lock.
Right.
They're both.
Exactly
the
this
same
long. Whatever this week is how long the locks last.
Is it contaminating the contents?
Not that I know of yet.
Oh, the locks?
Well,
People can put their stuff.
I don't know.
I mean, you do have to lift the thing,
Yeah.
lift the thing, and do all that.
Yeah.
You have to be doing it on purpose.
So harder than,
Yeah,
you
it's
have
hard.
to do it on purpose.
You have to, yeah. I will say I'm very excited about next week's collection because I got a note from a participant, that their church is making 500 apple pies this week and all of the peels will be
Where are they going? Which
I'm
one?
not saying.
Scavenger hunt.
I'm about to empty that one
If
twice.
you like apple peels, it's gonna be a good one.
Julie, does that compost go to the Okra?
It does.
Just curious.
I left a paint stirrer in the bin at Forsyth Park to prop up the lid of
You
the
did?
dumpster so that I can dump buckets in them.
That's so good. Okay, how's it working?
Not great, but better than like trying to prop it up with one hand while I.
That's
dump
so
bucket.
good.
So maybe there should be a little thing attached.
I
Yeah,
think like a Velcro patch that you put on the top of the thing, or an eye hook and a thing would be great, but you know, a stick work, but there's no sticks near in Forsyth near the. the paint stirrer there.
Like the way you have something for the hood of your car.
Right, exactly.
well, I appreciate your ingenuity. Food systems policy, has been, delayed a little bit. There was a draft that was put out, we've got some, review that we're doing, more intense review than we thought. And so that is getting pushed back by probably a month, so I'll have more to report on that next month. I probably could take Tiffin project off of here because that's nothing else to report that I'm aware of. And extended producer responsibility, I could probably take that off until there's something else we need to report about also, so I don't have anything on that.
I feel like that was new for me. What I guess it could be.
Oh, EPR is, there were two bills that were put forward to the state legislature in the last session. One of them was the bigger, better bottle bill, which was raising the 5 cents to 10 cents for redeemables, which has direct financial incentive for recycling, basically. The other was an extended producer responsibility bill, which was basically there's a lot of nuances to it, but to basically have the producer of waste have to do a couple different things, like reduce the amount of packaging, accept the packaging back. I don't know, other people might have more information than I do, but, there were different versions that some went through the Senate, some went through the Assembly, I think, or maybe they did, I don't really know. And it didn't really go anywhere. And we actually considered sending a letter from this commission in support of it. But I will say, I went to a circularity summit about 2 weeks ago that was hosted by Sustainable Hudson Valley. And there was a lot of people there from around the state that were actually advocating against the EPR because they were concerned about a number of different things that I really couldn't really articulate again because it wasn't clear to me. But before we take any action on it, we kind of need to be a little bit better educated about it. So I would encourage people to do research into the extended producer responsibility legislation.
Yeah, did anyone from that event share materials or were they just sort of speaking ad hoc
About EPR?
Yeah.
No,
Okay, all right, just curious.
no, they didn't.
I'm curious what the
Yeah, I'll have to go back in my brain and in my notes to see what their actual concerns were. And I'll circle back with people.
Cool, thanks.
Well, it would certainly raise prices to start.
Well, I think that was one of them for sure, is that the consumer was going to take a hit financially. Yeah. So I'll circle back on that one. Kingston Point Park improvements, I don't have any updates. My engineer has been delayed. Kingston Point Beach improvements, I can't remember if I told folks what happened, or the last time, if we talked about it. Probably not.
Since I'm there every morning, is there a problem with those big mafia blocks that they, some of the new flooding that's been happening over the last 3 days? Because they're now all underwater and I'm going, well, they're not doing anything now and the beach is getting totally eroded.
Well, what I'm about to say is going to be helpful to that solution, but for now, they're not, we're gonna take a hit every time it rains.
Okay.
Until we do what I'm about to tell you, which is we got a $4 million grant from the state to fix the beach. So it's a New York Swims grant, and for the last 10 years, I've been working with Cornell Adaptive Design Studio and with the DEC and Department of State, and we work at Supermass Studios, which is a firm out of the city, to look at Kingston Point Beach and redesign it so that we could save it from erosion and sea level rise. And the solution that we've come to, which is now being funded for $4 million from the state and $2 million from me, is a terraced beach. So that it would be, the lowest level would be the programmatic level right now where you swim and hang out and go on the beach now. And all of these other levels would be dry. And as time goes, then this level is just gone and this level is the level that you swim and play at, and all these are still. And so it will be, there'll be a boardwalk, there'll be 3 or 4 big terraced spaces that are still programmatic, still play volleyball, still hang out, still swim, still play the beach. But only the lowest level would actually get eroded at any given time. And then you save the other levels.
So does that mean like between the parking lot and where you, and the water, there's like some sort of a,
Mega berm.
like a berm?
Mega
Great.
nice.
Yep, mega berm, which is going to have to be something very carefully. We also acknowledge that very unique to Kingston Point Beach is the number of people who drive there in their cars and want to sit and look at the river. And so if I build mega berm, then that level of enjoyment for people who like to do that would be gone. So I'm going to have to design mega berm so that we can still figure out how people can still see the river.
Parking lot on top of it, right?
I have to modify the ramp, the boat ramp, because the boat ramp also needs to continue to be accessible
Yeah.
into perpetuity. So there's a lot of things that I have to figure out, which is why $6 million is what's being invested.
Can't do it. like asking why they wanna sit in their car. Is it because they're hot? Is it because
There's not really any
afraid?
seating outside of the chairs.
Right.
They're outside.
It's something that people love to do.
Yes,
It's a Kingston thing.
it's a Kingston thing, and I don't think chairs would change anything, budget wouldn't change anything.
I mean, that's
I don't
also,
understand it myself, because I go there on my bike, I don't understand why the hell
Yeah,
they do that. They usually live like a few blocks away.
yeah.
yeah, because I'm from Maine and everybody does it at the ocean. Like you drive, you sit in your car, you look.
It's just a car culture thing.
Yeah.
Just, we're just in it.
It's just, yeah, you're in your vehicle, you have your spot, you just move your spot, you
Yeah.
can look out, you can eat your lunch on your lunch break or whatever, you can like look at it. If you wanna get out and go for a walk, you can, but it's pretty common, I don't think it's a case.
And there's a lot, I mean, there's a lot of people that do it every single day.
That's nice,
Oh, yeah.
You can,
daily.
a lot of people go there for lunch every single time, every day.
I guess there's exercise going from your house to the car.
I mean, even if all you're doing is sitting and looking at the river, that's still like good for you.
Yeah, so good. So that's the New York Swims grant, and it's going to, it will be my largest, well, not if I get the $20 million ridiculous thermal one, never, but it will be my largest project, yeah.
Are we gonna start naming them after you?
The Julie Noble Mega Burn.
But the Dead Stadium.
Did stadium, it's not technically mine, I'm the in waiting just in case the project manager defaults to not wanting to ever come back to work, so I'm fully up rest on the entire project. But no, it's not Julie Noble Stadium.
Is the mega burn going to completely erase any sand?
No, we stand on every level, yeah. Yeah. We might take out all the bricks,
Bricks.
That would be nice.
I know.
I love the bricks, that's why I go there.
So take them to your house.
Take them to me.
Or we might cover them up, I mean, they're there,
Give me
just go over there and get first.
Fine, I'm gonna take as many bricks as I can fit in my car between now. Will you consider cleaning up litter or stealing, which is it, because I haven't been sure. Alright, I got the green light, you said.
Free bricks at Kingston Point.
I'm gonna be stinky.
No, they smell. Yeah, they do.
Do you think that?
Keep it bleaching.
All right, moving on. So
Thanks for
raise,
that.
there's no progress on raise, we're still in the contract phase. I'm going to keep saying that until something changes, so nothing else has changed. The comprehensive emergency management plan is moving forward, so it's actually going to the council this week, this Friday. So the Ulster County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan was recently completed by the county, and our local comprehensive emergency management plan was recently completed by myself and two colleagues. And those will both be going to the council to adopt, and so once we have those adopted, then we will be eligible for funding for FEMA the next time we have some sort of emergency incident, whatever it is, whether it be an outbreak of some sort, a mega snowstorm, a train explosion, a hurricane, whatever it may be. Would be eligible for support because we have these plans. More importantly, we also have the plans themselves, so we know how to respond. And those are gonna go forward to the council this Friday for adoption.
So they're adopting the Ulster County?
We have to
They
adopt both, yep.
Okay. Just to make sure I
Yep.
get that straight.
Is there extreme heat counted?
Extremely, yeah, so as part of that, we had to rank our, like 25 of the most extreme incidents that could happen. One of which was very, very, very low on the list, but now is actually higher, which is earthquakes, because like during the process, we had an earthquake. Just doubled our risk of earthquake. And other things that weren't necessarily high, like, insect-borne diseases, which weren't a thing, are now a thing. So,
So scary.
so scary.
Shouldn't be, but so scary.
Yeah. People just die. So, yeah. All right, North Street demos.
Stream gauge, is that?
Oh, yeah, the stream gauge, I don't know if it's coming in October, but it's still moving forward. I Don't have confirmation.
What is that?
Oh, so at the Maritime Museum, there used to be a USGS stream gauge, which
Oh,
was
yeah.
it was defunded for a number of years, but we got funding to reinstall and install in the same place. I don't know if it'll be by October, it might be by November.
We'll take that out.
North Street demos, that's taking down the 2 buildings on North Street that are down in the water, the demolition of those and the installation of a kayak dock. That is, in contract, or getting in contract, so I've been working with Department of State on finalizing the budget and scope of work for that.
Where is that?
When you're going out North Street, so you're going out the Strand, past Louis Road Treatment Plant, past Toys, the children's home, and it wiggles around, and then you get to the stop sign,
Right,
where the road comes down.
sure.
On your right-hand side, there's a house that's demolished, but that's condemned down
Yes,
the
I
road.
know that.
That one's coming down. And then the one up on the hill,
But
it's
that's
also,
on the estuary.
those are both being demolished. And we're putting in a kayak launch there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's the resiliency initiatives. 2025 budget request update, your budget has been included in the budget.
Yay, pizza for coaches.
So you have $1,000 in there, assuming it goes through the final cuts, which is multiple cuts still. It's gone through the levels so far, which means it's gone through me, it's gone through my department head, it's gone through the mayor. Still needs to go through the comptroller and through the common council. If it goes through those two more, you'll still have it, but for now, you still have $1,000 in it.
So that funding was all for Repair Cafe, right?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Did we spend it all?
Yeah, okay.
No, I mean, this past year we had $1,000, did we spend it all?
We have spent $0 of it.
Oh,
We haven't figured out the whole pizza thing.
yeah,
So I was paying out of pocket, and then the most recent one we used, I don't know if I should say this on the recording. Actually, never mind. Um,
no, you didn't.
what? No, I didn't do anything. But yeah, I've been laying out the majority of the money for the pizza, for the Repair Cafe,
It's gotta be a better one.
and the coffee and the donuts in the morning. So 2025, I think, should be our year to figure out. Yeah, okay.
All right, so letters of support, hopefully this will be quick, but, so at the last meeting, or a couple meetings ago, we went over the CFA letters of support. One of them was supporting the sidewalk improvement plan. We decided to write this letter, which was gonna go to the DEC. We did submit a letter. And so the way that we always have to do these CFA letters of support is that we ask for the letters of support in like July, but the grants are June, the grants aren't due to the end of July. And we have to do that just for the timing, but sometimes it is the case, actually pretty commonly, that not all the grants we thought we were going to submit get submitted for a number of different reasons. The budget doesn't work out, people run out of time, we're not eligible, whatever it is, new information comes about that doesn't work. In this case, the one that we thought we were going to submit, we were not eligible. However, there is another grant fund opportunity through the ESD Strategic Plan and Feasibility Study Grant Program to apply for the same thing. So basically, the city folks have asked if Climate Smart would basically take the same information that we were going to submit to this other grant and then put it into a grant application letter of support to the Mid-Hudson Regional Council for the Empire State Development Strategic Planning and Feasibility Grant Program. The draft letter states, on behalf of Climate Smart Kingston Commission, I'm pleased to support the City of Kingston's application for the city-wide sidewalk improvement plan. Funding from the Empire State Development Planning and Feasibility Studies Grant Program will allow the city to hire a consultant to develop a plan that will provide an action blueprint for improving and expanding sidewalks All across Kingston, the sidewalk improvement plan will help the city establish a robust pedestrian network for safe travel, which will in turn reduce motor vehicle use and related carbon emissions. It will build upon the Kingston Pedestrian Bicycle Master Plan and Complete Streets Advisory Council white paper on sidewalk needs, previously collected sidewalk data, and other city plans and policies. The plan will assess the current state of sidewalks, evaluate other municipal plan examples, and offer options for financial structures. Those options may include a sidewalk improvement district, cost share program, bond referendum, state and federal funding sources, and other grant sources. The plan will include details about how each of these options will be structured and with possible outcomes, prioritization of improvements at the parcel level, and templates and educational materials for implementation. The plan will also include a study of the bluestone used in both historic and non-historic districts. And then we would go on to say, blah, 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 Climate Smart Kingston is amazing, we support it for these reasons. Sincerely, Julie Noble and all the people that voted on it. Are there any questions?
Yeah, what, just taking it literally as a sidewalk improvement plan, what areas of Kingston would you wanna improve sidewalks in
I think this is for the entire city.
for the entire city?
I believe so.
Great. There's some janky sidewalks.
Yes, there are.
Has there ever been any talks about turning some of our, like either the roundabout or uptown Kingston to like no car zone?
We have talked about it. We've talked about it like, what's it called, intermittently, like on Sundays, you can't drive on this road. That is,
We're getting good practice now with all the road work.
That's true.
Uptown was ridiculous.
That's true.
So bad.
no pain, no gain. There's a lot going on uptown right now. Central Hudson is doing some gas work and we're
Oh, that's the gas line.
paving main lane at the same time.
Okay.
No pain, no gain.
I love the idea.
Same.
I love the idea.
Are they connected? Like, and what's the word for the no car zone? What do they call it?
Oh,
Complete street.
Pedestrian, complete streets?
No, it's
Pedestrian-
pedestrian mall?
Yeah,
Pedestrian mall.
Yeah.
Do you
or
think
pedestrian street.
that's connected to the sidewalk improvement plan or it's totally separate?
I think it's probably not connected, but I think that the Complete Streets Advisory Council probably considers it. And I'm sure that the Kingston Pedestrian and Bicycle Master Plan might even mention something about it. I don't know for sure.
Okay. When it's time for communications and announcements and updates, I'll explain why I'm asking.
Okay. Go ahead.
Just a clarification, that the sidewalk improvement plan, like when we had approved the letter back in July, so.
Yep.
Is that the grant that you mentioned that was not eligible?
Correct,
Okay, and we're resubmitting it to the regional council?
correct.
Okay.
If there's a motion to do so.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining?
Nope.
All right. Climate Smart Event Energy Expo, we talked about it already.
We did it.
September 9th, I mean November 9th.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
I also have two other new business things to
Okay.
mention.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just posted on our Facebook page, if people could go like this, but also forward this to anybody you know. The Mid-Hudson Energy Transition has reopened applications for their home upgrade grants HUG program. The deadline to express interest to this program is September 30th. So basically they have another $200,000 to give out for qualifying homeowners to make immediate improvements to their homes that will lead to health and safety upgrades, utility cost savings, etc. You can look at the details on our Climate Smart Kingston page. I posted the English flyer and the Spanish flyer, and there's a link to the interest form. So that is number one. And what was the other thing I wrote down somewhere? Oh, I got an email from Food and Water Watch that said that the city of Kingston is voting on a resolution urging Governor Hochul to stop the expansion of the Iroquois fracked gas pipeline on October 1st, I think. And I wanted to know if anybody heard about that or what that's about.
October 1st isn't an election day.
I don't know anything about it. October 1st would be Tuesday, that's when the common council meets. We can look and see if their agenda's posted. And, Jeannie left, so she's not here. Is that Chippy?
I'm looking for the email now because of course I didn't write the subject down. Geez, I wish I would have
I don't
saved.
know why I don't get these posts from Climate Smart Kingston.
Their agenda is not listed yet. Well, no, of course it wouldn't be listed because people don't have to put communications in until Friday. Oh no, then it would have been in last month's or this month's laws and rules. Okay, let's see.
So here's the pipeline. It doesn't go through Ulster County.
I know, I was wondering why the city of Kingston would be like taking a giant stance on this.
Might as well.
I literally just saw it before our meeting when I was getting the good work information from my email and I wrote it down and I can't find it now.
Oh yeah, here it is.
Oh,
It went to laws and rules. So the resolution is a resolution of the Common Council to adopt a memorializing resolution urging the governor of New York to deny the Iroquois pipeline expansion. Whereas the proposed expansion of the 30-year Iroquois National Gas Pipeline, natural gas pipeline, my bad, will significantly increase the fracked gas volume, escalating environmental and health risks in the Hudson Valley, and whereas emissions from compressor stations release pollutants like nitrogen oxide and the carcinogen benzene proven to cause serious health threats, thus violating New Yorkers' rights to a clean and healthy environment under the Green Amendment. Whereas historical data documents that natural gas pipeline infrastructure, including compressor stations, pose significant safety hazards evidenced by frequent incidents of leaks, explosions, and resultant fatalities and environmental damage. And whereas the pipeline's expansion is in direct conflict with the CLCPA statutory goals, fostering continued reliance on fossil fuels and undermining the state's statutorily required transition to a sustainable and renewable energy future. And whereas Governor Hochul has the responsibility and authority to protect New York's environment and public health and to ensure the full implementation of the CLCPA, with the power to deny this expansion, it is in direct conflict with the state law and thus the state's environmental and health priorities, and now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, that as follows: the City of Kingston calls on Governor Hochul to immediately deny the permit for the Iroquois National Gas Pipeline expansion, thereby holding New York CLCPA and the state's environmental standards and commitment to a sustainable.
Okay.
I put a link in the chat to what Food and Water Watch. I found the email. Sorry, were you done? I couldn't tell if you were taking a breath or you.
I'm done. I am taking a breath, but I'm done.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
I'm done. I was done.
Oh, okay. And then it says that basically
Is if they passed it or not.
it says that they're going to vote on the resolution on October 1st from 7 to 8 p.m. and they need people to show out to support them passing this resolution. And it actually says it's going to go through it's going to cross the Hudson River in Hudson, travel through the Hudson Valley, Harlem Valley, Connecticut, across Long Island to New York City. So I guess it is going to be in our area in some way, shape, or form.
It'll be in, not just in Columbia County, and it goes through Greene County. Well, I guess it seems like it's already there, they're just making it, they're expanding it.
I mean, they're right.
So I guess I don't know if anybody is free that day or thinks we should try to show up, but just flagging that they are trying to get people to show up.
Okay.
I hope it's not like a protest, but you know, I do agree that we should advocate for it not, advocate for the resolution being passed.
Who's voting?
The common council. All right. So is there an update from Climate Smart Committee, Ulster County?
That would be better.
Okay. Also, I would just note that the reason we didn't have our August meeting for Climate Smart is because it's the same night as the EMC roundtable. And a few of us went, including Bill and I and Cal, way to represent. There is my report. Cal?
Sure. I mean, it was interesting. It was, I feel like the Ulster County Climate Smart meetings try to bring people from all the different municipalities, and it super doesn't work, and it takes forever because there's so many municipalities, and so this was designed to be like, okay, plan to come to this, which I think was more effective. And it was interesting to hear, because every municipality had the opportunity to weigh in on what they're working on as far as their like environmental commission or their climate smart organization, whichever they have. So there's a lot of stuff happening all over the county. It was very cool. And they also did one of those dot hole exercises, which I love, putting sticky dots on signs.
Me too.
So it was very satisfying to vote with sticky dots about what the county should prioritize as far as county level climate work. So I thought it was great. And it was very well attended with snacks. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that we talked about it a little bit afterwards, but it's just so impressive to see everyone putting in their time to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Which I guess the same could be said for everyone here. It's like it's really, it's extraordinary.
And I'll just comment, I agree with what both of them have said, and I would just go beyond to also say it's extraordinary to me because obviously a lot of what happens in the city of Kingston is happening in my office by Phil and I, and we get paid every day to do this, but in every other community, that is not the case. It's the you all of every one of the communities, and you're all obviously supporting doing all this as well, but in all these other communities, they do not have paid people that are doing it. They're still getting a lot of stuff done, and it's just very.
What was this night called?
It was the annual roundtable. Basically, it's Conservation Advisory Councils and Climate Smart Kingston or Climate Smart Commissions getting together and networking and sharing best practices and having a good time.
My two takeaways from what other communities are doing that I thought were the most exciting were, I believe it is Saugerties has an electric Zamboni for their ice rink,
Yes.
which I did not know existed.
What's an electric
So
Zamboni?
you know the thing they drive around to smooth the ice?
Oh,
It's electric.
cool.
So that was cool. And the other was that, where was it, Wallkill maybe, has after Halloween, Thanksgiving, whatever, they have an event where you bring your like decaying pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns and they will hurl them in a trebuchet.
Pumpkin smash.
Which I think
Pumpkin smash.
Kingston could do as part of the support the composting program.
So I participated in a pumpkin smash training
Oh,
because
wow.
apparently everyone thinks that we should be doing a pumpkin smash. And everyone thinks it's important to tell me that we should be doing a pumpkin smash.
Technically, it's like,
So I did do a training to learn all about how we would do it. I haven't convinced Department of Public Works or the mayor yet to do a pumpkin smash. Clearly, there's an upswell of people who think we should be doing it, so we'll see. I haven't.
Carolyn.
we were like, we're going to Wallkill. It has the same appeal as like a tractor pull. You're like, something's happening.
All right. Another vote for pumpkins. All right, other announcements, communications, events, or updates?
Okay.
So I waited 3 years to say this,
Oh my gosh.
but I am now a graduate student in a sustainability program.
Hello.
I'm an MBA sustainability student at Bard College. Thank you. Oof. Which the reason I bring it up is because I'd like to take more of a role here. And I think you guys, when it started a year and a half ago, you guys were looking for help with the social media. So I wanted to volunteer to help work on that. Because I'd like to invest more time in this.
Awesome.
That'd be
Very
great.
nice.
That'd be great.
Cool. So I think it's really Melissa that,
I can't hear what you're saying. Are you saying you're gonna take over the social media?
only if I can meet with you and review it.
Please, please, thank you. Please take it. I will gladly give you it. But yes, let's meet to discuss that. And I've been limping along here, so.
Okay. That is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So the two of you are gonna connect?
Yes, Kev, I just wanted to make a request.
Go ahead, Roberto.
Hold on.
Oh,
Something went wrong.
Terrible.
Oh, no. Yes, I will meet with Haya though. I'll email you.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you.
In the meantime, while we're waiting for, now we're all on the edge of our seats.
No.
And we're like, is he okay? Or, are we gonna have quorum for next month? It's October 23rd. Is there anyone that already knows they will not be here?
I will be in California, which means I think I also cannot contribute to quorum remotely, right?
You can attend remotely if you send your address in advance.
So the address doesn't have to be in Kingston. It's okay if it's, okay, I'll
Could
do
be
that.
anywhere, but we need a quorum in the room.
In the room,
Otherwise,
Oh, I see.
I will not be able to attend.
Okay, anyone else?
I'm good.
Okay. Rachel Roberta.
Maybe he just emails us, I don't know.
maybe.
Does anyone else have anything else?
Well, social media posts.
Oh yeah, social media posts, so,
So should I post the Iroquois pipeline show up? Maybe not the Food and Water Watch link. That's very like activisty, but just letting people know to show up for support. That is a question I have.
that's still activisty.
Yeah.
You could say that it will be on the agenda at the meeting if people want to attend and share their opinions. Is
Mm-hmm.
that leading or is that fine to just say it's gonna be on the agenda?
Yeah, that's no,
That's fine.
okay, yeah.
Okay, so just word it. Okay. And then I just posted the MHET thing. Once we plan the whole thing in November, we can post that. Once we plan the next Repair Cafe, we can post that.
That's good. You could post.
Oh,
any-
and there was some sort of press event this week. Jen Metzger had about electric.
Put those chargers there.
Yeah. Betta said she was gonna forward me the press release to put on our socials.
Okay,
That's
Yeah,
what I got so far.
that's good.
Okay.
All right, well, we're going to just hope that Roberto can remember whatever it was and tell us the next time. Is there any other business? All right, if not, we need a motion to adjourn. Cal, can I get a second? Jake, any discussion? All in favor? All right, thank you very much. Vicky, thank you for participating.
Can you still be around here, just not?
Will you see you in Adams this year?